Have you ever tried to get a narcissist to leave your life, and whenever you try, they never do? And the only option you're ever left with is the fact that you have to actually leave them. And then you get out, you leave the relationship, you do whatever you have to break the ties, and then you're susceptible to hoovers, to them actually coming back in your life, to manipulating and trying to control you back. And oftentimes using a phrase, "you left me." Putting it back on you, making you feel like it's your fault that you left a toxic relationship, that you left someone who is abusing you. The problem is that phrase a lot of times works. It starts to pull you back in. It starts to reel you back in, thinking like, well, that's true. I kind of did give up. I kind of did do this. Maybe it is my fault. You start to doubt yourself. You start to go through this idea and this thought process that maybe it's your fault. A narcissist will use the phrase, "you left me," to manipulate you over and over and over again. Playing the victim, coming across acting a certain way, like behaving a certain way to be able to control you and pull you back in to their toxic web. Pull you back in into being stuck with a narcissist forever. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I've been there, I've done that, of walking down the path of an abusive relationship, of me being that part, playing that part in that relationship, emotionally, mentally, getting to the place of confusing and destroying so many relationships and so many lives. I want you to be able to understand, like, this is real. If you're just new to narcissistic abuse and you're not sure what's actually going on, you're not crazy, you're not alone, and you're not hopeless. Like, this is a huge thing that narcissists do to be able to manipulate and control. One of them here is this aspect of using the phrase, "you left me," to try to manipulate you back, to try to get you in the relationship, to try to control you. And so I want to be able to shed light on that. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, hit like, rate, review, whatever you might be able to do, or share this with someone else so they can understand more about narcissism. They can understand more about the crazy making that they've been through by being in a toxic relationship, and maybe also get freedom by doing that. Would you do that today? One of the things I want to be able to point out is narcissists use this phrase, "you left me," as a way to start guilt tripping you and use it as emotional manipulation. Like, it's something that starts to confuse you. It starts to make you wonder of like, wait a second, like, it is true, I did leave him. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe it was too soon. Maybe I should have given him another chance. And oftentimes a narcissist excels at exploiting your sense of guilt and responsibility in the relationship. We often refer to this as putting you into the fog, the fear, the obligation, and the guilt. The things that actually keep you stuck in a toxic relationship, that keep you blinded of actually seeing the truth. The fear of what's going to happen if you leave. The fear of what's going to happen, is he going to go find another person that's going to be better and then it's your fault. The obligation of like, you've been through so much already. Like, you guys have experienced so much trauma, so much pain together. A lot of times it's more of like, what did he actually put you through? But still, the obligation is there. Then you also have the guilt, feeling guilty of like, well, I actually did leave him. And you start to be able to doubt why you left or what was actually going on. But narcissist does this to trigger you and to trigger these like feelings of guilt and self-doubt within you, of making you kind of question and wonder, wait a second, what is actually going on? Narcissist wants you to believe that you're the cause, that you're the problem, and not them. Now, you could have a narcissist that cheats on you 30 times, and then you finally get up and leave. They're going to view that as a rejection. You left me. You're like, how does it even make sense? It's not going to make sense to you, but it will make sense to a narcissist because that's what they have to live with. They have to live with the fact that they're a good person, even though they cheat on you 30 times. They have to live with the fact that you left them because of them, but they can't handle that, so it has to be that you just left them. You see, it has to get rewrote in the narcissist's mind. A narcissist rewrites history. They change the past from something that's true into something that's false to feel better about themselves. And so a lot of times by getting this place of like, you left me, it is a cry of like, let me trigger you with guilt, with self-doubt, and to make you doubt the things that you actually did, oftentimes trying to bring you back or make you feel bad about leaving. Like, this is the piece where the narcissist wants you to believe you're the cause. You're the cause of the distress. You're the one that abandoned them. You're the one that put them as a victim. You're the one that hurt and abused them. Even if you made the decision to leave for valid reasons, the majority of the time you do, narcissist is still going to flip it around and try to make it look like it is your fault. Like, you're going to see that you leave the relationship, the narcissist might reach out saying, hey, you left me when I needed you the most. I was working on myself. I was trying and you left. How could you abandon someone who loved you so deeply? How could you abandon someone who actually cares about you? And like, I'm trying to do all this for you. Like, let's just get back together. And they'll put together this great Hoover trying to suck you back into the relationship. But this statement, like what I just talked about, is designed to elicit guilt, creating doubt in your decision to actually leave and making you question your role in their unhappiness. You start to believe that it is your fault. You start to believe that their happiness is your responsibility. You start to believe that it is your fault for how they feel, how they act, how they respond, how they react, all those pieces. And you start to take on more of that than what you should because you're looking at it from a skewed perspective. Okay, a narcissist will do this oftentimes. They'll put you in this place of trying to put you in the guilt and the emotional manipulation. Okay, because they're also trying to regain control. Now, regain control over you, yes, but also regain control of the story. Whether that's the story they're telling themselves or the story they're telling other people, the smear campaign. Of like, how do I actually regain this and get out in front of it so I don't look like the bad person? Okay, for me, I did not want to look like the bad guy. Okay, so I didn't want to disappoint my parents by getting a divorce. I didn't want to look bad in society by getting a divorce. I didn't want to look bad in my religious organization by getting a divorce. So as a result, I couldn't be the one who left because if I left, then I would look bad. However, if my wife left, then she would look bad because then she was abandoning me. She was rejecting me. And if I can get in front of that, if I can tell people that she left because we're having marital issues, not because I cheated, but because we're just having issues, if I can tell people that, then I become the victim and she looks like the bad person. Did this happen in your life? If so, like leave a comment down below because we have too many people that stay silent about this and they're getting manipulated over and over and over again. The narcissist a lot of times will thrive on this aspect of control and power. And by playing the victim, you left me, they get a little bit of control back. They get control specifically over the narrative and manipulate you oftentimes to return to their influence. Like this happens consistently. This isn't just like a random piece. We see this happen over and over where people get hoovered. They get sucked back into a toxic relationship. And narcissist comes back in now. They have the upper hand in the relationship. Reaffirms their dominance, reaffirms like what they want. Like, I can't believe you left me alone. I'm struggling with this. Like everything in my world is falling apart. You're the love of my life. We're soulmates. We're always going to be together. Narcissists will appeal to your sympathy, to your compassion, trying to get control back over your emotions, trying to get control back over you. And when you stand up against that, a lot of times you'll see it oscillate crazily. Like the narcissist is like, I love you so much. You're like, I don't think we can do this. What? I can't believe you do this. You'd leave me alone like this? And then next they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I love you so much. Like, please, like, just let me have another chance. No, I don't think. Oh, you're so rude. And they just go off. Okay? Like, you'll see this. And when you see this, like, realize, like, the nice, like, lovey-dovey aspect isn't actually there. It's just a facade. It's just a fake piece to try to get you sucked back in. Okay? This happens over and over and over again. I cannot stress as much as the hoovering and the hoovering cycles. Like to draw you back into the narcissist's web of manipulation. Like it's going to keep happening over and over and over. You left me is a popular tactic. Now it's not the only tactic. There are thousands of them. But a narcissist will use this over and over and over because it works. Because you actually buy it. Because you buy the fact that, wait a second, you start to doubt yourself because they've already pre-programmed all this self-doubt into you from how they've treated you and how they've belittled you and how they put down your emotions, your feelings, and your decisions. You start to doubt yourself and you start to think, well, maybe it's my fault. And then a lot of times you come back. Like, it's like, let me ignite these feelings of guilt, of love, and desire to rescue or fix the narcissist, and you'll come back. Like, a narcissist, a period of time, like let's say you go into a contact. A narcissist might reach out and say, you left me when I needed you most. I'm lost without your guidance and support. There's a many ways of saying it. I'm just kind of throwing ideas out there. Okay? Like by playing the victim, the aim is reignite your sense of responsibility for the other person. Like, you have to understand a narcissist wants you to be responsible for their shit. So, like, when you get to the place where you start to acknowledge, like, oh, I'm responsible for him cheating, let me go fix it. I'm responsible for how unhappy he is, let me go fix it. That's not your job, and the narcissist is projecting it onto you so that they can feel better about themselves and manipulate you back, period. You're not responsible for another person's happiness. You're not responsible for another person's decisions. You're not responsible for another person cheating or not cheating on you. That is not your responsibility. But a narcissist will try to use any of that to manipulate you and try to keep control over you. Do you see that? Does that make sense? So be careful with this phrase, if you left me, because the narcissist will do this to try to control and hoover you back into the life. If you're at the place where you're like, hey, I need some help with this, I want you to go to escapetoxicity.com. It's our 7-day challenge for $7. Helps you understand narcissistic abuse, helps you understand reactive abuse, the guilt, the shame of being with a narcissist, the fog that you're in, all those pieces we talk about inside there. Jump into the challenge, start going through daily assignments, daily homework. You get involved with a community of other people that are there going through the same exact course. If you're like, hey, I'd rather just talk to you and do an accelerated environment, then reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com and click on the one-on-ones. We can talk. We can see if you'd be a good fit for working together one-on-one, which I do inside of our Thriver program and our Thriver Year program. But the whole goal is like helping you get to the place where we break you free of the trauma bond. We get you out so that when the narcissist comes back in and says, hey, you left me, you're like, yeah, I did. And it doesn't pull you back into a toxic relationship. Reach out for help. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, review, anything like that to try to be able to help show other people what's actually going on in these toxic relationships.